Another guest that we've had here today, or we have here, is Joan Headley. Joan Headley runs the Polio Health International in Missouri. Is it Missouri? Yeah. Joan Swain, if you would like to introduce Joan Headley, and Joan Headley, if you'd like to come up, either on the podium or over here.
Joan has been the executive director of what used to be called Ginny, but is now called, and I won't go into the reasons for that because that's another long story, but it's now called Post-Polio Health International, which is, you can see there's a difference. It identifies exactly what they are, and they are indeed international. And I'm going to, okay, we're doing things a little backwards, aren't we? Are we giving aren't I going to present her?
Yes.
Oh, okay, it's queuing in. In fact, this would be a point where I should mention that the reason we're sort of winging it a little bit is that Jean Sapos, who is the conference chair, unfortunately couldn't attend. She was hit with a bug, and it kept her away from the festivities. And so we've been improvising since then. So there, a couple of things might not have quite worked out right, like this. On behalf of the Polio Network of New Jersey, I'm happy to present this check for $5,000 to Post-Polio Health International, also known as PHI. The donation comes from a bequest that Polio Network received from a generous friend that for the purpose of helping polio survivors. And it's also, as a little aside, it's what's made it possible for us to offer the lovely meal we had today for $20 and $15 for children when it cost considerably more than that. So back to my check.
Thank you.
We can think of no organization that has helped polio survivors more than PHI. Just a few of the things that they do is they have periodic conferences, and we're the first conference in the early 80s, I guess, where most people learned about post-polio. And the Joyce Hauser you've been hearing about today was at that particular conference, and it was as a result of what she learned there that she started the Raritan Valley Post-Polio Support Group, which Ray Jaco, who is in the chair with the yellow jacket on the back of it, is our current president. Some of the things that they do are the periodic conferences. They had one, in fact, last year, was it? At Warm Springs, a very good place to have it. And they create and have on their website a directory of support groups, of clinics, and of healthcare professionals. And I suggest to everybody that they look at their website, at that website, to find out if you're looking for a doctor or looking for a clinic or a healthcare professional. And there's all sorts of wonderful stuff on their websites, and I think there's a little card on your table, on the table at each place that tells about the websites. She also promotes research and offers small biennial grants, issues a quarterly newsletter, and I just mentioned the websites. So now maybe you could tell us a few more things about it.
Thank you. I'll thank you too.
Here, if they'll laugh at you if you take that to the bank. So
Okay.
we'll check this in.
You don't want me to try. Thank you. Well, thank you very much, and we really are honored to receive the funds, and you can't go too far, my notes are right there. I wanted to, hold that for me. No, I'm fine. No, I'm not going to talk that long. But she did mention some of our work, and we did give this to you so that you can jump on the websites and visit it. I'll start at the bottom. The one is postpolio.org, and it's post-polio.org, and it's one that we've had for years. and years, and we welcome you to visit it. And she did mention the directory on there, and Dr. Hirsch mentioned it as well. It's not every doctor that knows everything about polio, but it's a good place to start, and there's many support groups there, and you could start with them as well. I do want to mention that we talk many times and mention about physicians and their understanding of late effects of polio. And our organization, in conjunction with the John P. Murtha Neuroscience and Pain Center in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, we have coordinated monthly conference calls for physicians and post-polio clinic directors since 2004. So I'm not saying that we're educating every physician and that everyone and all of them know everything that we might want them to know, but we have made that attempt to educate physicians. And if you have a physician that you would like us to add to the list, we would be more than glad to add them to the list, and they can join the call and listen to it, or if they want to just read the minutes, they can do that as well. So I would invite you to do that. Now, the middle one is ventusers.org, and as you know, many polio people were in iron lungs or used some ventilation when they first had polio, and they're needing some help now, and so that's what that website is for. But in addition to that, the things that we learned as polio survivors and about ventilation is things that people who have muscular dystrophy or people who have ALS is a choice for them as well. So that website is not specifically just for polio survivors, so that's its roots. It's for all people who use home mechanical ventilation. And then the one at the top is is a new website that we just unveiled this year, and it's called polioplace.org. And it has a couple of reasons for existing, and one is that we're trying to have a place where people who are polio survivors in other countries who are younger than we are, and I'm not necessarily talking about the poorer countries, because some of the things that in some of the poorer parts of the world, they won't be able to get to the website. But there certainly are younger people in South America who are now facing the late effects of polio. So it's a website that has a lot of information of history, but we're also trying to develop two areas. One's called Living with Polio, and then another is just a series of photographs of neat things that you have learned. And so we want to have pictures of that, little gadgets or things that we could just put pictures of, and if I'm a young Argentinian looking at the website can say, oh, well, I could make that, or I could, figure out something like that. So some of you let me take pictures of you today, and I appreciate that, and you might be on the website. Excuse me, but I invite you to look at it and say, well, I have this neat thing, and I'd like to share it. So that's part of what Polio Place is for, so I invite you to do that. Anyway, appreciate the collaboration that we've had over all these years. I've been here in New Jersey several times, and so many of you are my friends, so I really appreciate the donation and compliment you and congratulate you on your success as an organization. And everybody has a quote, so here's mine to end. And mine comes from a Hallmark card. It's not much grander than that. But you heard the expression that we're not getting older, we're getting better. Well, this Hallmark card went on to say, and this would be my wish for you, is that we are also getting better at getting older. And I hope that that's what our organizations provide, is to help us become better at getting older. So thank you very much. It's good to see you.